I'm delighted, Tommy, that you agreed to talk to me because we're friends a long time. And when we were walking on the green in Hillview with the dogs and we'd swap stories, and I used to be absolutely amazed at your life story. And I think it's one that deserves to be recorded. And I said the purpose of it is that in maybe 100 years' time, as I'm saying to a lot of people, your great-great-grandchildren will say, "There's my great-great-grandfather. And that little fella, the image of him." And and also they know, because Tommy, people don't believe the type of lives and poverty that was around when we were young.
Oh yeah.
You know. Yeah. So first of all, I'll ask you your name.
Tom Harte.
And Tommy, where were you born?
I born in Dominic's Place, 70 Dominic's Place, opposite May Conwell shop.
And they were the new houses at the time.
They were the new houses.
Tommy, just when we're talking about the new houses, would you remember the tenements downtown when you were younger like that? Do you know, the old houses that people lived in?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Would you be able to, and what would you think would have been the worst in Waterford, the worst tenements in Waterford? Would you have any idea? New Street maybe, Little Michael Street?
I say between New Street now and Michael Street.
Yeah. And were you ever in any of those tenements?
I was in, forget what. There used to be a bad one there. Do you remember the Rundle Dance Hall?
I do.
Well, opposite that, there was a tenancy there. I forget the name of it now.
Yeah.
But that was very bad.
Was it? And were you ever inside anything?
I was.
What could you describe it, Tommy? You know, just...
I was only in the hallway now. You know,
yeah,
I was never. But there's something like you see in prison.
Yeah.
No, I forget the name of it.
Yeah, yeah. I know the area you're talking.
Not the area, yeah.
But yeah, it was just to emphasise the poverty. And there was no better housing. That's all they had.
Oh, yeah.
When they built Dominic's Place, they took all the people out of those tenements. So it was a great service that was done by the City Council. So Tommy, your school days, right?
Yeah.
Your mother and father's name, Tommy?
My mother was Nellie Jackson. Just one of the Jacksons, Jimmy Jackson, the boxer. My uncle had a chip shop there on the Yellow Road. He had a chip shop there. And my mother's name, that was my mother, and my father's name was Harte, Tom Harte. And my father was drowned 3 months before I was born, so I don't know anyone belonged to my father at all, because they all were emigrating to America, so I never met any of my father's people. Yeah. But I think there was 21 of the Jacksons in it.
Right, okay,
that'd be my mother's side.
Yeah. And I'm sure I would have known Jimmy well.
Of course you would,
and Dennis and John.
That's right.
Your school days, Tommy.
Yeah.
You went to school, first you went to who?
Down to the Mercy.
Mother Anthony.
Mother Anthony, and there was a teacher there, Josie
Cleary.
Yeah. I remember them well there.
Yeah.
So I made my commune there. And then I went to De La Salle after I made my commune.
Yeah. And did you like school, Tommy?
I hated it, Thomas. Hated it because I often went to school hungry, and the Christian brothers were there, and they used to have a big cane, and you'd be standing there, and you might know the answer, but you were frightened to see it, and they'd be coming behind you, and with the cane, and that time you'd have a short pants on you, and they'd hit you on the legs. And you were expected to get suspended all the time. And me, having no father, and I was always thrown at the end of the class, they just ignored me completely.
Tommy, you know, that's a common story. That's not just, you know, I get a common story.
Yeah, well, it happened to me, though.
Amongst people, Tommy, who were, you know, like poor people. Yes. Let's say, like, practically everyone was poor at that stage.
They were,
And Tommy, as a young child, the games that you played around like that.
Games. Now, what we used to play Chinese.
Yeah.
That's the tours, I think they call them now. Yeah. And there'd be 3 holes in the ground, and you'd be trying to get them into the holes.
Yeah.
And then we used to play Tig.
Yeah, Tig.
You'd be running around trying to after the person trying to touch him, to tee him. Yeah. And then they used to hand things in, and Waverly was one of them, and the person would have their head down. He'd be able to hand in something as well, and the fella would be holding it over his head, and he said, Waverly, what should I do with this young man or this young girl, whatever the case would be. Well, he used to run up and down the road shouting, I'm not mad, or you must knock at the door and knock at 3 doors and run away. And if you didn't do it, whatever you had to hand in, you wouldn't get it back. So that was, and then we used to have the big ASB poles.
Yeah.
There'd be a rope on that, and the fella be on the ground like that, and he catch the rope, and he go around and fire around like that, and he'd be swinging around. That's the swing we used to have on the pole.
Yeah. But do you know something, Tommy? There was the amount of exercise that we had when we were young.
Oh yeah.
That's all gone now.
Oh, it is.
Tommy, do you remember a Christmas?
Christmas. Well, I used to look forward to Christmas because I used to get nothing. Not through no fault of my mother, as I said. She was on her own and we had nothing. And Christmas meant nothing to me.
How many were in your family, Tommy? How many brothers and sisters?
I had 4 sisters and one brother.
Yeah. Tough on the woman, yeah.
Tough enough. I mean, she got no help with anyone there.
Yeah.
And then we used to get the free shoes.
Yeah.
And you'd be in mass and you'd be kneeling down, and underneath was a stamp, free shoes. Everyone knew that you had free shoes on.
Yeah, you told me that before, and I was shocked when I heard it. Tommy. You know how insensitive. You know, do you think they could just put nothing on the shoes?
Exactly. So I mean, what was the big deal of putting a stamp on it?
Yeah. But Tommy, listen, we'll get to that in a minute, because when you in Mother Anthony's then you made your communion, is that when you got the free shoes, Tommy? Was it for your communion?
Yeah. And that's when I had the shoes then, as you say, for the communion.
And before that, Tommy, would you been in your bare feet?
Oh yeah. I used to go down to Mercy with bare feet in Dominique's place. There's Osmond Street now, the Lara Lane.
Yeah.
Walk down.
Yeah.
There.
Down to Mother. I went to Mother Anthony to be safe too. But yeah, I mean, and there was probably a load of young fellas with you in their bare feet, wasn't
there? Yeah. But there wasn't that many though. But me not having a father, we had not. As I said, sometimes I'd be hungry going to the school.
Yeah, because that's one of the questions I was going to ask you about. What do you have for your breakfast?
Yeah.
So
we look at have a bit of bread.
Yeah.
Bit of margarine and bread.
Yeah.
So, going to school, and we lucky some mornings I wouldn't have that.
Yeah.
And then we used to get a bottle of milk.
Yeah.
And a corn bun.
Yeah.
That's if your father wasn't working. So I used to look forward to the bottle of milk and the corn bun.
Yeah. Tough, Tommy.
Now.
And like for your dinner then, what would you typically, can you remember what would you have for your dinner?
To be honest with you, I don't remember what the dinner was, because if there was bread there, we had something. If there was nothing there, we had nothing.
Tommy, you eventually then left school. What age did you leave school at?
14. I left at 14 and I went into George White's in O'Connor Street. And I was on the messenger boy's bike. And that time the Dublin train used to leave the station 4:15, and to stop, and there was one of that or someplace like that. But I used to have my bike in on the platform, and I used to get the parcels then, and for people would go around Waterford and they'd buy stuff, and then I used to bring it in the station and give it to them.
Yeah.
Was that?
And obviously then would you be delivering messages to the house around the town? You would?
Oh yeah. And as I said, I was turned at the end of the class. I couldn't read, I couldn't write when I left school. True enough, 41. And I went to the streets, and the basket was there on the bike. I pick up a parcel, and I meet you coming down, and I say, excuse me, could you tell me where that person lives? That's the way I used to do it. But then it was Thursday, we'd have a half day, and you'd take the bike home if a Thursday, the half day. And I was living in Dominique's place, and the shop boy would say to you, Tommy, you're on your way home now. It could be John's Fair, that's the other end of the city.
Yeah.
Would you deliver that? She was so delighted getting the bike going home. Certainly I'll do it.
Yeah.
So I was to take it out to Tramwalk. There'd be 3 of us. One the basket, one the bar, one the saddle. 3 of us. We got that case right, there's a well. We used to go up there, oh my God, we used to look forward to a drink of water. And we used to change drivers then. And when we see the back strand, just great. It's what I see in America.
Yeah.
That's right.
And people forget that. They're so easy
Oh,
getting
so
the
easy.
Tramore there now, like,
Oh yeah.
you know. I
And
mean,
then there'd be the Tramore train.
yeah.
And as I said, my mother hadn't much money. And that was down Railway Square. And you'd be queuing up like, and it's the steam train. And there'd be all big crowds there waiting to get in. So to get the tickets, and my mother used to pay for two, and there was 6 of us in it.
Yeah.
And we used to get in on the train.
Yeah.
At that time, they were all single carriages. And there'd be a window there with a strap on it. Like you put it up like that, that's just pull up the window, very small window.
Yeah.
And that was there. And then we go to Tramore then, and we used to get, go to the place out there and get a kettle of boiling water. And there was another prominent Tramore,
Yeah.
the field opposite that, and they were there, and you pay a deposit on the kettle, and you'd be there and you get a cup of tea, and you'd be at the window a few times, and by cheers, would you be hungry with the sea here? I used to really look forward to it.
Yeah.
And I just used to enjoy that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Tommy, it was, but what age then did you were on him, how long were you driving the Mr. by his bike?
About a year.
And then, did you get a real job then? Or what?
I did. I went to London.
Oh, right.
Yeah, at that time now, Dermot, there used to be a boat, Great Western it was called,
Yeah.
the Tower Hotel into Fishguard, and it was 8 hours was the normal one. But if the weather was bad, I was often on 16. Now, the cattle would go on the boat first, and then they leave the passengers in. But there was no stabilisers, and there was only small boats, and the boats would be going like this, because I said no stabilisers. So what I used to do, I was a very bad traveller, go down to where the cattle was, and I throw myself down, the smell every day. And I just throw myself there, and then when we coming down to Fishguard, come up, and it was an 8-hour journey from Fishguard to Paddington. I landed there, I had £1 in my pocket, nowhere to go, and listening to chaps were coming home on holidays, they said, when you go over, go into the Salvation Army. That'd be like Lady Lane below. Yeah. So landed in Paddington, so down to Fishguard, down to, what do you call it,
Salvation Army?
Salvation Army, and there was all ex-army camps, and there'd be one door going in, there'd be 20 beds that side, 20 beds that side, there'd be steel bed, steel locker, steel bed, steel locker, and just the one door going in. And then there was winos and togasings, the whole lot, and you'd be in bed by there. And then the guys like come in about 2 in the morning, they'd be looking for some of the fellas better doing something, and you'd be putting down the clothes and shining torches, and you'd be there and you were shading. But thank God I was only there one night. And I went off then Monday morning, and it was a great, great country. And I got a job on the building, and carrying a hod. Now, you put 12 bricks into this hod, just like that, and a hand of a bush, and you put it up on your shoulder, and you go over to the scaffold, over to where the ladder was,
yeah.
And you went up the ladder onto the scaffold, and you fed the bricks off like that, 12 bricks. And then I was so fit at the time, I wouldn't bother coming down the rungs. I put my 2 legs outside the ladder, and I used to slide down the ladder, and we were on piecework. Yeah. And it was great. And if you could do the work, that was good. They wouldn't ask your age, so I said I was only 15. I was getting man's wages. I sent my mother home £3 every week. Now I'd be 83 in June, and I was only 15 at the time. Now if your father was working, if he was lucky to have a job, he wasn't getting that. Yeah. And every Friday, the fellas called wire boys. And
they worked the P&T.
That's right, in the post office. My mother used to be waiting at the gate in Domini's place, opposite Conway shop, waiting for this wire boy to come. I sent my mother home £3 every week. And as I said, if your father had a job, he wasn't getting that. Yeah. The woman thought she was in heaven.
Fair play to you, Tommy.
Yeah. But it was a great, great country.
Tommy, when you were younger, did you drink alcohol? Did you drink?
When I went over, you had to drink, because over there, being on the building, all the builders used to go and have a few drinks, and like
To be part of it.
to be part of the job, to go out and drink.
Yeah. And Tommy, were you paid in the pub, can you remember?
What's that?
Were you paid in the pub?
Oh, no, I paid on the building site.
Oh yeah, that's because I do know that some places are paid in the pub.
Well, they used to be, you know, the dockers and Waterfords.
Yeah.
They all got paid in the pub,
Yeah.
the dockers.
Yeah.
Because
heard
my
horror
brother
stories
Johnny,
about
he,
that, yeah.
he was a docker.
I heard horror stories about that, Tommy, about the lads being paid in the pub and the wives down trying to get a couple of bob
Yeah,
outside the pubs. They bawling and roaring.
that's right.
Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah, that's, my brother was a docker.
Was he?
Yeah, and my father was a pilot. He used to have a small boat and he used to bring the big boats up the river. And he was up in Fidown. And that time there wouldn't be big cranes like they have now. They'd be just a sort of an ESB pole. And they'd have a rope on it like this. And they used to put the stuff on and then they used to pull it over onto the jetty. And what happened was, my father was standing there and he got hit. And he went down between the jetty and the boat. And he was a fantastic swimmer.
Yeah.
He used to swim across the river with my brother on his back.
God bless him.
And that's how he made this. As I said, 3 months after I was born. So I never knew the man.
Yeah. But you were saying about your brother and that, about being paid in the pub.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was outrageous to do that to men.
Oh, it was, yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I probably turned a lot of younger boys to drink.
Of course it is.
You know?
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah. Terrible. But anyway, Tommy, you were over in London, and how long did you stay in London?
1964.
From what year did you go, did you
I
say?
thought I was 15.
Yeah.
So
So,
whatever that be.
so you came back in
And
64.
I'll be 83. I'll be 83 now in June. Yeah, I came back in 1964.
Yeah, and you got a job here then?
I got a job then. Kings Meadow. You know the house in Kings Meadow?
Yeah?
There was a Ross Gray firm there, McManus was the name of the firm. So I said, I worked all the time, as I said, on the building. And the Fagan brothers, they were bricklayers from the Mayor's Walk. And I knew all them. And I went down to Message Hill, I was looking for a job. And I met Bob McManus. And I said, are you starting any men? He said, are you from the town? I said, I am. He said, no, I'm not starting any men. Because they wouldn't start fellas from the town. And
Why is that, Tommy?
I said, I wouldn't work anyway. Didn't want to work. So what happened was, I met the Fagans. And see, the bricklayers were very short at the time. So I met all the Fagans. Because when I used to come home on my holidays, I felt very bricking. I used to have a few drinks. So they said, when are you going back, Tommy? And I said, be honest, I want to stay here now, I said. And I can't get a job. So he said, I'll get you a job here. Waste of time, I said. And I had to ask them. And well, I didn't like it, he said, they asked me, was I from the town? And I said, I was. And then he had no time for me at all. So Stephen said to the McManus, he said, well, if he don't get the start, and one of his brothers was a foreman brickie, he said, we won't be working. So I got the job. So next thing the whistle went, and the canteen. Next thing, one of the Fagans handed me his mug to go and get his tea. As I said, I worked in England all my life in the village. So I said, what's that first thing? Oh, he says that Tommy, the labourers gets the tradesmen tea. I went, hang on now, I said, I'll keep you going in muck and blocks. But I said, you can get your own tea. Tommy, that's not the bit of works here. Well, I said, sorry now, I said, I was brought up there in England. And I said, oh, all right then, he said, so he got his own tea. But then 1 o'clock the whistle went. What did he do? He handed me his trowel. I said, what's that for? You have to clean it. I said, hold on a minute now. I said, will you clean my bucket and shovel? Oh, well, I said, I'm not cleaning your towel. But Tommy's not. Well, I said, look, that's the way I work. So I said, I'm used to that. I'm not going to. So he cleaned his own trowel. But that's the way it was. They were like gods. Now, the bricklayers was on bonus.
Yeah.
I was working, attending 2 bricklayers, and I knew what I was doing, in England. As soon as the bricklayers were working on the scaffold there, as soon as I see them nearly finished, I had the spot board up just for putting up the sand and cement on it, and I'd have these blocks up, and they'll have nothing to do, only walk along the scaffold to the next one. That's because I was used to all this crack in England. But that was all right then. They were on bonus. They wouldn't give you a drink. And they were working like a slave. Huh?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
But how long did...
Oh, sorry, Dan, when I think of it. And what happened then, Stephen didn't come in this morning anyway. And I was getting about 10 minutes, quarter of an hour before me, and I had all the blocks up and with the work on the board. But he didn't come anyway. So Bank said to me, Tommy, where's Stephen? God, Papa said, I haven't a clue. But I said, there's one thing now, Tommy, you'll have to do. I said, what's that, Bob? You'd have to stop calling me Bob, he says. Well, I said, no. Bob said, there's one thing you have to do. You'd have to stop calling me Tommy.
Yeah.
But then we had a few wars, and I walked off to the job. So Stephen came in. It's not like Tommy now, he said. Oh, he said, we had a few wars. Tell him what happened. Oh, geez, he said, you shouldn't have said that to him, he said. So I started back again then. And then I went to the ESB. 8 o'clock in the morning, you go to Grace Jew, the big lorries there, and you have to put them poles by hand up on the lorries. And then you went out the country, it's just one kind. And you got a rope and you pull them big poles off by hand. And then you cut them, and you had to throw them poles by hand over the ditch, and then you climbed over the ditch, and then you carry them to where they were going. There might be 3 poles in one field or 4 poles. And then you had a pickaxe, a bar and a shovel. And you went down 4'6". And then when you went down 4'6", you went down 18 inches, a thing called a pothole for the pole to go down. Now that's 4'6", but that's 4'6" from the level, but you're either throwing up clay all around you. So actually you're throwing it up 6'6" or 7 feet, you're throwing up this clay out of the hole. And then you hoist that, you used to hoist that by hand. And then when it's hoist, there used to be a big huge drum of wire. There'd be a hole in the middle of it, a steel bar would go through that, and you jack that side, you jack up the jack, and then put up on your shoulder, and you pull that across the fields. And there'd be a linesman then up on the pole, and you tie the cable on, and he'd pull it up. And when you come across rock, which you often did in the field, 14-pound sledge and a crowbar. That's what you used to get. And you used to fire out at 8:30 in the morning to collect you 5:30. No protective clothing, nothing. Come tea time.
Sorry, I'll stop you there, Tommy. No protective clothing. I mean, if it rains, what would happen?
Yeah, but that's just too bad. You had nothing.
Would they expect you to work in the rain?
Well, not expecting you. If you didn't, you'd be sacked. Yeah. And as I said, you'd be there, and under an old hedge, so the rain beating down on top of you, and then they collect you at 5:30, and at 5:30 they bring you back to Grace Jew, and you were finished at 6 o'clock.
Tommy, did you tell me once, I remember we were up in the green, about one day you got sick, and a farmer or something looked after you, and the foreman wanted you to go back to work?
That's right. I got sick, and the farmer, he brought me in, and put me to bed in the house, and if he did, the foreman came up looking for me to go back, and I had to go back to that hole when I was sick.
Right.
So
I don't know, Tommy, what to say about it, but I remember you telling me that before.
Yeah.
Tommy, regarding so that was your working life. You retired out of the ESB.
I retired out of the ESB.
Yeah. Regarding, we say, religion, did you go to mass?
I used to go every Sunday to mass.
Yeah. And so confessions and that, you went all that.
Oh,
you were a good Catholic. You were.
Father.
Yeah.
He, matter of fact, he built the Holy Family, there used to be a thing called a carnival, used to be in the barracks.
Yeah.
And his father ran that, and that's how the Holy Family was built.
Yeah.
I
remember Father Farrell fondly. Yeah. Tommy, just ask you a question. Do you know all this? And the reason I'm asking everybody is because, as I said, this is for 100, 200 years' time.
Right.
And history will record this period in about the church being in trouble with all this child abuse thing.
Oh, yeah.
Has that affected your religion, the fact that this is happening in the church?
Yes, definitely.
Has it? In what way, Tommy?
Well, as I said, the Good Shepherd Convent was there, and I used to bring them children out of the Good Shepherd Convent, and I'd bring them out to Tramore. I had a car at that stage, bring them out to Tramore, and come Christmas week, I used to take 3 children out and keep them for Christmas week.
At home, yeah?
Yeah, at home.
Fair play.
And one time there, the children had nothing. So, but I became very attached to all them children down there.
Yeah,
but this was going on. They were getting interfered with down there, which I never knew. And maybe it's just as well, because I wouldn't be here today.
Yeah.
I'd be still in jail. And the children I knew well.
And did they ever say anything to you?
They didn't, because they were scared. Scared. And then, I said to John Kelly, that was Joe Kelly's brother now. John walked in the used to be with me. I said, John, how come, I said, the Jew factory, when they're having the Christmas party for their children, they can they take children out of the Good Shepherd Convent. And here are we, I said, ESB, a big job, and we don't do it. When he said, I'll say it to the committee. So I said it to the committee. Tommy, he said, that's grand, if you go down to Good Shepherd Convent. So I went down and done several things for my care. That time it was St. Joseph Balstow. And I brought children up there, and we were going around them with sweets and drink, a bit of fruit. But when I was giving out the stuff, when I used to come to the Good Shepherd children, I used to always give them double everything, because they're like, your children, Dermot was all right, mine was all right. So I always looked after them. But I was really upset now to find that was going on.
Yeah.
You know?
I know, yeah.
It was unbelievable.
Unbelievable, yeah. Unbelievable. And you know, a lot of people didn't know about it, you know. It was one of these hidden things, you know.
Yeah.
Tommy, so listen, you also said that when the Somalian situation broke out, that you were.
Oh yeah. So I was watching the Somalia on the telly, and my heart went out to these poor people, nothing teeth. So I said, I'm going to do something. So I went down to Super Valley, and thinking there'd be someone outside making the collection, because the collection was on this day. But then they weren't, so I went down to, what do you call it, the big supermarket.
Down the City Square, no?
Down City Square. I went down to City Square, and there's a chap there called Joe Tobin.
Yeah.
He was a bus driver. Now I didn't know Joe, but he was standing outside with the bucket. And I said, excuse me, would you tell me? I said, where'd you get the bucket? Up in the granary, he said. So I went up, and there was an English girl there, and she started coming home, and she was married. She was living with a chap in Wexford, that's what living there, but she was English. And I said, can I have a bucket, love? She said, just sign there. So I signed. So I went down to Shores. There was a sale on Shores. I was 2 hours and a half there. I had €1.20 in the bucket. So I said, I go down to the clock tower and I do the traffic. So I went off on it. When the lights go red, I go off. When them bus drivers, the best men in the world, they were pulling up they were putting in 5ers and 10ers.
Bus drivers?
Yeah, bus drivers and other cars as well. But the bus drivers, 5ers and 10ers, were waiting there, stopping. And when the lights go green, then I used to go in on the footpath. But it started to rain very heavy. So I stood in Kelly's store shop, and there was an elderly lady there in the clothes shop. And she said, do you know a hat boy? A hat man. I said, it was fine night coming out. Well, she said, we don't sell men's hats, but I'll give you a bag, she said. So she said, what colour will I give you? She said, plain ones, and she had orange one. I said, give me the orange ones. I said, the traffic is see.
Yeah.
So that was all right.
That was a plastic bag, wasn't it?
Plastic one, yeah. And I was standing there. But I was there for 2 hours. But 5 hours. I had no coins, all 5 hours and 10 hours. So I went up to the granary, and I say now, the woman that probably up there, the English woman, she probably, I hope she can see this. I went up to her and she opened it. Tommy, she said, you're making more than all the buckets that's there. I tell you what I said. I think I'm the only one that said, doing the traffic. Oh, she said, you're not insured to do the traffic. Now when I tell you, man, I said, do you see them homeless fortunate people? I said, they wouldn't mind standing there. So I said, will you do me a favour? I said, I didn't say that. Yeah. She said, all right. Yeah. So I goes down anyway with my buckles, off again. After about 2 hours, money again. Back up. Tommy, she said, this is unbelievable. So what time do you close? This was 4:30. She said, 5 o'clock. Well, I said, there's not much sense in me going down now. I said, for the sake of a half hour. So she said, I'm coming in now, Tommy, from Ross, and I'm going to the dentist in the morning. I'll meet you in Kymore, whatever time it was. So I got my bucket and I went off, and then I said, I think I'll go up now to the Mercy School. I'll give it a bit of rest here now, the people on the quay. Yeah. So I went up anyway, and I went into, there was a sweet shop there, and
the Marion, was it?
The Marion.
Yeah.
Your man Quigley had it at the time,
Right.
that's his first name.
Yeah.
And I was standing there anyway, and this time there was all kinds I was getting. Yeah. So I went in, this Quigley, I forget his name now. And when I went in, you do me a favour, I said, there's all kinds. And at that time, I was pains in my back, and I was getting the arthritis, but I didn't know. I said, will you take the coins off me? I said, no problem, he said. So he took the coins off me, so I went back out. Next thing, the wife comes along about 8 o'clock, and she said, what are you doing? I said, she said, all the money you have in that bucket, there's people getting mugged, she says, for 10 and 50, and here you are standing here, come on, you're coming home, she said, which was 100% right.
Yeah.
So I went in anyway to the chap, and he put €50 into the bucket. So I went home, so I went down to meet the woman from New Ross, and I gave it to her. Tommy, this is unbelievable, she said. Do you know, she counted whatever it was there. 3,500.
You were after collecting?
I was after taking 3,500. That's a few years ago.
And what age, Tommy, did you have to retire then at 65 or what?
No, come DSB, you retired at 65. You had to.
Yeah.
No, I was quite happy to keep going.
Yeah.
No, retired. And then you had to wait until you were 66 to get the old age pension.
Yeah.
Well, I only worked, I didn't pay any stamp in George White's. But what happened was, I didn't pay any stamp. But when I went into DSB, the first 2 years I was there, I paid stamp.
Okay.
So if I did, I paid it. So when I retired, I only had 2 years stamps. So I think the old age pension now is 250 or so.
Yeah.
And I have I think it's 110.
Yeah.
Because I only had the 2 years.
I understand, yeah.
You understand?
A reduced pension, yeah.
I had a reduced pension.
But Tommy, looking back on your life, it has been up and down.
Up and down.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, to start off in that type of poverty in Waterford, you know, and I said you weren't the only one.
No.
Almost everyone was in that situation, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And then I said to you then, I left school, I couldn't read, I couldn't write, right?
Yeah.
But I have a lovely house in Hillview.
Yeah.
And
well, Tommy, I know the work that you put in, because I know that one thing I can say for you, that I've never met a man like you to look after a family like you.
oh, thanks very much.
3 jobs you worked
Yeah.
to put a good home around your family, and I think you're absolutely brilliant fella for doing that. I mean, and I know what you did.
God, thanks very much.
You know,
Yeah.
but you did. I mean, you came home as a ESB, you went to another job, and when that was finished, you went to another job, and all to put a good home around your family.
Yeah.
So, like, there's not too many men can actually say to put in that type of effort.
Yeah.
You know, and you're looking brilliant, Tommy.
Thanks very much. Thanks very
Got
much.
a light on your face. You know?
Damn. But that's what happened. I used to finish at 6, grade due, and go down to Darrell's. I wash Darrell's, and I buffers. Come home at 8:30, get me dinner, change then. I was bouncing the R3, the bridge, the festival in the Gamble, the Reg, Tower, Kate Riley's, and there was the head bouncer on the grant.
Yeah.
I used to get up, I used to go to bed at 3 and get up at 7 for years.
4 hours sleep. Yeah, yeah.
And cars, I was into cars. Every year I used to change my car.
Yeah.
I used to change it.
Why not? You work for it.
I wasn't drinking, I wasn't smoking.
Well, what did you give up drinking? You did
No,
eventually.
I came home from England and we hadn't much money.
Yeah.
And when we came home, and I gave up the drink altogether. As I said, that was 1964.
You're on that long.
Oh yeah. Now, as you know, every Saturday night I was on the wander in.
Yeah.
I'd be up dancing and having a
yeah.
crack with her.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you didn't need it, Tommy.
no,
You didn't need it. Fair. You
No.
were steeped.
I was
You
steep.
were steeped.
I was.
Steeped because it can just go either way, Tommy.
Oh, that's all.
Go either way.
But as I said, I should change, and my family, 3 foreign holidays a year
Yeah.
we used to have.
Yeah.
3 years.
And Tommy, how many kids did you have?
I had 3 girls and a boy.
3 girls and a boy. And I know the boy died tragically. Am I right in
I
saying
did.
that?
Paul,
Yeah, Paul. Yeah. A tough blow, Tommy.
Oh,
Tough blow after,
Paul.
you know.
yeah.
Yeah. And I knew Paul. I know the
That's
guys,
just
yeah.
everyone knew Paul too.
Yeah.
You know.
But sure, Tommy, that's life. And you know something? Look at those 4 kids we killed the other day.
Oh, sure, God almighty, your heart go to them, wouldn't it?
Oh, sure, just,
Oh, I mean-
so, and you have to be philosophical. I mean, that is life.
Oh, that's
you
it,
know,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I'm always saying, you know, if there's such a thing as reincarnation, I want my name off the list.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't want to be back this way again.
Mm.
You know.
Well,
Tommy Harte, it's been an absolute pleasure and a joy to talk to you. And thanks very much, Tommy,
Thank
for taking the time to come up and talk
That's
to me. And
grand,
I know you have family all around the world. And I know that they'll be delighted to see you.
They'll be over the moon, dollars.
Because, as I say, you're looking brilliant, Tommy. I never
Thanks.
saw you looking as well.
Yeah.
God bless, Tommy.
I love you.
Thanks very
Thanks,
much, Tommy.
Thank you, Dermot.